Stop confusing sometime, sometimes, sometime, and sometimes. Hello guys, this is your favorite Canadian English teacher, Josh. Let's start with a very short quiz. Try to choose the right answer. Let's grab lunch next week. Is it sometime, sometimes, sometime, or sometimes? I need to think about it. Are easier than others. I wonder why I study English. Could you find the right answers? If you are not 100% sure, make sure to watch the whole video and don't miss the final quiz at the end. Let's start with the most common. Sometimes. Sometimes is an adverb and it means occasionally. For example, sometimes I drink tea instead of coffee. Occasionally, I drink tea instead of coffee. So sometimes shows the frequency like always, usually, or often. She sometimes forgets her phone. She occasionally forgets her phone. We study until late sometimes. We study until late occasionally. Now here's a tip for you. Sometimes can be placed at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the sentence. It doesn't matter, you can move it around. You can say, sometimes I drink tea instead of coffee. You can say, I sometimes drink tea instead of coffee. Or you can say, I drink tea instead of coffee sometimes. They all have the same meaning. Now let's remove the S. Sometime. Sometime is also an adverb, but it has a very different meaning. It means at an unspecified time, at an unknown time in the future. For example, let's meet sometime next week. Let's meet at an unspecified time next week. We don't know when it's going to happen. So there is no exact time, there is no exact date, there is no exact schedule. It's just sometime next week. The package arrived sometime yesterday. Sometime yesterday, we don't know when it arrived. At an unspecified time yesterday, the package arrived. Sometime is placed before the time expression. You see here, sometime next week. Next week is the time expression. Sometime yesterday. Yesterday is the time expression. But sometimes there is no time expression. So we just put it at the end of the sentence. Call me sometime. Call me sometime in the future, whenever you want. Here is a more difficult one. Sometimes. Now this is a noun phrase. It's not an adverb. It means certain moments or specific situations. For example, sometimes were hard because we were poor. Certain moments were hard. Specific situations were hard. So sometimes refers to moments, situations, or periods in someone's life. Some periods in my life were hard because we were poor. I remember sometimes when we got lost. I remember specific situations or certain moments during our trip when we got lost. There are some times when saying nothing is wise. There are specific situations or certain moments in life when you shouldn't talk. Be careful here. Sometimes is rarely used when meaning a few times. Let me give you an example. I've been to Paris sometimes. In this case, we wouldn't say sometimes. We would say a few times. Nobody would say, I've been to Paris sometimes. I've been to Paris a few times. I've been to Paris several times. We saw each other sometimes last year. No one would say that. Here you can also replace it with a few times. We saw each other a few times last year. We saw each other several times last year. This one is very useful. Sometime. It's also a noun phrase. It means a period of time or a quantity. For example, we talked for some time. Sometime often implies a fairly long period of time. We talked for a long time. It's the same thing. We talked for some time. It took her some time to finish the job. Yes, I think so, because she's sleeping on the job. It took her some time. It took her a fairly long time to finish the job. He spent some time in Canada in his 20s. So for all of these sentences, you can replace some time with a long time. We talked for a long time. It took her a long time to finish the job. He spent a long time in Canada in his 20s. Let's review. Sometimes means occasionally. Sometime at an unspecified time. Sometimes certain moments or certain periods in someone's life. Sometime, a fairly long time. Remember our short quiz from the beginning? It should be easy now. Let's go together. Let's grab lunch next week. Do you remember your answer from the beginning? Did you get the right answer? It is, let's grab lunch sometime next week at an unspecified time next week. I need to think about it. I need a long time to think about it. I need some time to think about it. Are easier than others. You ready? Sometimes are easier than others. Some periods in people's lives are easier than others. I wonder why I study English. This one should be easy. Sometimes, occasionally, I wonder why I study English. But you know why you study English? Because it's fun! And now it is quiz time. Let's see if you're really good at what we've studied today. We should do this again. Okay, now your 4 choices are right here. We should do this again. We should do this again sometime. Sometime is at an unspecified time in the future. So they want to meet again in the future. Question 2. My cat hides in my bed. Think about your answer. The answer is, my cat sometimes hides in my bed. Occasionally, not all the time, but a few times a week, occasionally. Question 3. It took, but I finally got used to living in the US. It took a long time. You remember this one? Some time, right? It took a fairly long time. It took a pretty long time, but I finally got used to it. Question 4. Were difficult, but we survived. So imagine you were shipwrecked. So were difficult, but we survived. It was not very easy. Some moments were difficult. Sometimes were difficult, but we survived. Certain moments were difficult, but we survived. Question 5. In the future, I want to learn Chinese. That would be very useful. In the future, sometime in the future, at an unspecified time in the future, I want to learn Chinese. Question 6. I remember when everything felt perfect. You are hanging out with your friends, you take a selfie, everything feels perfect. I remember sometimes when everything felt perfect. Sometimes specific moments. Question 7. She works from home. So usually she works at the office, but just a few times a month she works from home. So she sometimes works from home. She occasionally works from home. Question 8. It took me to understand the lesson. So at first I didn't understand the lesson, and eventually I understood the lesson. It took me some time to understand the lesson. It took me a fairly long time to understand the lesson. Excellent job! If you need extra practice, go to my website. It's 100% free. You will find many activities to help you practice what we have studied. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye!